more like a thorn in my ass, and not in the playful, sexy way. I could feel Zane looking at me, so I flipped him off. I added, for good measure, "I'm not bringing the thorn." "Fine, fine. Have it your way. I'll just have to give you my undivided attention." A small thrill danced up my spine, and I had to chew on my lip to keep from smiling too big. "It's a date," Sias hummed. "Don't be late, Wild. I don't want anything to be cold by the time you arrive." He hung up without saying goodbye because he had too much big dick energy to be bothered with parting words. Goddamn, he was so hot. Attractive, dominating, suave as hell incubus business daddy who could make me melt with just a few touches. He also made my heart do goofy little flutters, even when we weren't going at it like sex-crazed bunnies. "Meeting Sias tonight?" Zane's sudden voice broke my fun little horny spell, and I threw some snow at him. "Are you listening to my phone calls?" "No." Zane tapped his chest. "You got all fluttery." "Fuck you, I don't flutter," I lied, because it was none of his business, and I hated that he could feel my emotions. "You're not supposed to be keyed in, remember?" "In order for me to mute the connection so you can have your private time, I have to meditate or read. Not gonna happen when we're hunting grunt vampires at an old, freaky hospital." Zane motioned to the large square building behind us that was all shattered windows and rot. "I can handle myself just fine. I was doing this long before you started tagging along." I started stabbing the earth with my stake, pretending it was Zane's face. "Uh-huh. You set up traps like this alone, too, or just when you have backup?" "Best time to experiment is when your life is tethered to an undead dipshit." I twisted the stake into the ground and put my body weight into it. "You can't let me die, so maybe I'll get lucky and you'll get some chunks taken out of you." "They're not going to be interested in me, Hunter." Zane glanced over the circle, the sunlight catching on the angles of the quartz. "We'll see about that." I stood once the stake was pushed in and dabbed at the sweat on my brow with my sleeve. The cold wind stung my wet skin and made howling noises through the busted windows of the old hospital. Icy teeth hung from the ledges, giving each dark entrance a sense of hunger. Deep within the belly of the empty building was an infestation, mindless husks of what used to be living people, now feral with death magic and bloodthirst. They had been turned by a necromancer I had yet to find, made to be attack dogs and vessels of brutality and terror. My job, along with training exotic fish and assassinating regular folk for money, was to purge this world of all the death magic I could find. Even if I was now part of their twisted little family, by no fault of my own, and had to haul around an unhelpful thrall with a bad attitude and no sense of fucking privacy. My backpack sank into the snow as I slung it off my shoulder, the zipper sticking a bit as I slashed it open. Inside the cozy confines of my now soggy canvas bag were a few bags of borrowed blood I'd acquired completely legally and not at all from shady dealings with sketchy people who work at a blood bank. These non-existent people might also have sold me some drugs on occasion, so we had a good working relationship. The sun was hidden behind thick winter clouds packed with unfallen snow, and the tangle of dead trees shrouding the ground near the hospital ER entrance was optimal for lesser vampires. Direct sunlight would cause them to burst into flames, but desperate, hungry monsters would take a risk on an overcast day with ample shading. It wasn't a guarantee, but it was worth a shot. It was a hell of a lot better than going into their lair and fighting on their turf. The last thing I wanted to do was get myself trapped in a dark corridor with bitey vampires looking for an easy meal. I was fairly sure Zane would let them gnaw on me a while before helping me. The blood in the bags was cold, but still dented the snow as I splashed it onto the ground. It sank into the white, staining it crimson and corrupting the footprints we had left behind. Soon the center of my trap was bloody and wet, and I tossed a half-empty bag down as extra incentive before backing away to the perimeter. The smell of pennies and death stuck to the cool winter breeze, and I pretended it didn't cause dark memories to uncurl in the shadows of my mind.